Hello, hello, and welcome. I am Joan Turner of JonesArtGallery.com, and I am glad to be here with you again. I'm here with my hot cocoa, which my family says is more like mud. I think they're implying that I put too much cocoa in there, which also implies that it's too chocolatey. And everyone knows there's no such thing as too chocolatey. So there you go, family. So today I thought we would get ready for the fall, okay, August, September, and do a rock painting of this beauteous sunflower. What do you think? What do you think? I think we can do it, okay? So the awesomely cool folks at the Drake Council on Aging said, how about making us another tutorial? We have lots of fun doing that, and I have lots of fun doing them for you. So absolutely, I said yes, okay? So we're gonna do this sunflower, and I have more that I'm gonna do later, so I will show it to you to entice you to begin looking. All right, so what you need for this sunflower project is a rock, okay? And not necessarily important rock, but you want to kind of look at it and say, all right, is this gonna look good on this rock? Because we're gonna have a stem here, we're gonna have a flower head, okay? So you kind of want a stone that's gonna accommodate the shape or the composition of our project, okay? So I picked this one. So hopefully that works after all my preaching, all right? So what you will need is a rock, okay? You will need water bowls that do not look like drinking cups so that when you're so involved in painting, you don't drink them by mistake. You need hot cocoa. No, that's optional. You need a palette. Okay, now a palette is just something you're gonna put your paint on to get it ready. There's professional paint palettes that you can use. There's disposable paint palettes, which after you use them, you just tear the top off, throw it away. Some people use wax paper, some people use plastic coated plates, some people just use regular paper plates. Anything is okay, okay? So whatever is convenient for you. If you are an art person, you probably have lots of art stuff around that you can use. You will need brushes, okay? These are my brushes that I took out. I'm not really sure how many we'll actually need. The only big brush you're going to need is to actually paint the stone, okay? So we're going to go ahead and paint that white so that while we're talking, that can dry a little bit, okay? So you're going to take some white paint and put it out on your palette, okay? White paint, palette, okay? And I'm just putting a little bit of white paint on my palette because I actually already have painted my rock, okay? So I'm gonna take the paint here and put it on the rock, okay, like this. And then I'm gonna let it dry, and after it dries, I'm gonna put a second coat on it, which is kind of what's happening here now. All right, so let that dry while we're talking. If in fact you need more time, just stop the recording. Stop the recording, let it dry, come on back. Come on back, okay? So you need a palette, you need water, you need brushes. Because my rock is not that big, I don't have really big, huge brushes. I have a square head brush to kind of lay this color on here. And then I have a rounded brush to kind of get into the smaller little places here, right? And I also, and hopefully you have one too, have a detail brush. And because this is a really small kind of picture, this is a really small kind of detail brush. Let me see if I can, how close. How close I can get it. All right, so it's just a very small detail brush. So if you have one of those, and actually some people make their own. They have an old brush They take all the little, they chop off some of the hairs until they only have a couple left, and then they get a detail brush that they like. So you can actually customize your brushes. But don't do it to your good brushes, okay? Do it to your old brushes. Paints that you will need, if you look at this awesome picture, you know that you will need green for the leaves. All right, and I like a hooker's green and a viridian hue. Sometimes I use them both, sometimes I don't. Depends on my mood, okay? I have a little bit of brown out here. This is burnt sienna, but I think I'm also gonna look for some darker brown. Excuse my head disappearing. Will I go look for some darker brown? Okay, so my darker brown is burnt umber, right? So we have burnt sienna and burnt umber. They're both brown, but see how dark one is? And one is a little bit on the other side. Burnt refers to kind of hot. You know how colors seem to have a temperature. Pinks are kind of cool, blues, yellows are really warm, like the sun. Oranges are warm. Okay, so so a burnt, I'd say a burnt sienna, okay, is brown with a little bit of warmth added to it, like yellow or orange. Okay, so that's kind of very cool. So you are going to need that, even though you don't see a great deal of brown in the picture. We're going to use it like in between the petals and stuff so that you can see them. That would be nice. Okay, we also want yellow for the petals. I have two yellows, a medium yellow, which looks like that. And these are acrylic paints, if I didn't already mention it. And this is a deep yellow because I want to have a little bit of different colors on there. I have also, if you really take a close look at this, you're going to see there's a little ladybug on there. And the ladybug is red, white, and black. So you will need red, white, and mine's upside down because it's running out, so I like to keep it upside down, and black, which is here. Always a good idea to leave white and black around anyway, because sometimes you want to lighten up a color, sometimes you want to darken a color. It's always good to have the white and the black out a little bit. I think that covers it. Paper towels. Have mucho amounts of paper towels around. And no, it's not a big roll of toilet paper for all you comedians, all you commodians out there. I couldn't resist, sorry. This is paper towels. So you want to make sure your paper towels are nearby, your paints, your brushes, your cocoa or glass of wine, or if whatever your beverage of choice is, that absolutely is okay. You should enjoy every aspect of this exercise. Okay, so without further ado, at least I don't think so. Let me see if my, okay, we're gonna give this rock a few more seconds. And while that rock is taking a few more seconds to actually dry a little bit, I'm gonna go look for a pencil because I wanna give myself some guidelines on this rock. So let me see. What I'm trying to decide is which side is the better side to do this rock on. I'm lucky that this rock is actually flat on the bottom and will stand up. So maybe that side. I'm gonna go get a pencil. Go get a pencil. I'll be right back. Okay. Pencil. And usually I have some very awesome music playing, but because it interferes with the recording of the video, there's no music. So you might have to listen to me sing or hum or something like that. It's okay, it's okay. If you don't like it, just turn the volume down. Okay. So I am going to move the camera so that you are pointed down at the art table. Okay, because we want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and actually, I think I'll take another plate here. and do this. Okay, so can you see okay? I go here, like this. You probably can see me okay. Let's try moving you around a little. Actually, I have this up on a stand. Let's try taking you off the stand. That could be even better. Is it? It is. Cool. Okay, so let me find my hot cocoa. And I'm just kind of stalling a little bit. Give my rock a little bit of extra time to actually dry it. Let's get even closer. Ah, you guys are gonna have a good view. Okay, so here's my rock. I've decided, and again, look at it, see which side is better. That side's still a little wet. Okay, acrylic paints dry relatively fast. I'm in my art room, which is half underground, so it stays a little bit cooler here, which is okay. We like it. Right, so I'm going to take my rock and I'm going to work on this side of it because I have determined that that's the good side. That's the side I want. Okay, so as I'm looking at this picture, and if you want to, you could practice on a piece of paper for a few times if you wanted to, but nature is not perfect. So even if you don't get it perfect, so what? Who cares? Okay, so I am going to, all right, lean my rock over a little bit this way, and I'm going to take my hand sanitizer and put my picture here or here so you guys can see it better, right? And I am going to make the stem first, okay? So the stem, like, it's going to come like right about here, and I don't know how good you can see that. Okay, stem there. Do a circle. Do a circle for the middle of the flower. Right? And then we're just going to, can you see that at all? Hold that thought. Let's take a little bit of burnt sienna. Now, you, my darlings, do not need to do this. I am going to do it so that I have greater visibility so you can see what is going on here. All right, so I'm going to take my little detail brush and put it in some water. And then I'm going to, typically we don't mix paints with water, but I want to use this instead of a pencil so that you can kind of see what's going on here. All right, so once again, let me put my, now you can see it, ta-da! Where there is a will, there is a way. And I had wondered if it was actually gonna work, but this does work. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put a oval over here. Okay. Then we are going to come up here and put in a spot for our leaf. And I'm using the burnt sienna, which is a very light brown, because I'm going to make this leaf dark brown anyway. So I'm pretty sure that I can cover it. I can cover it well. Okay, so the basic teardrop shape for the leaf. Again, you don't need to be an artist to do this project, okay? You just need to have some fun, because these shapes do not need to be exact. As a matter of fact, they're a little bit nicer if they're not. Everything that you do should have your own kind of flavor to it, or something that is reminiscent of your personality. Okay, so now this is this middle part of the sunflower right here. So now over here, I actually just want to put some petals on here. Now these petals, again, do not need to be, they don't need to be exact. They're just kind of like elongated teardrop shapes. And because the flower is kind of facing out this way, the longest petals are going to be on the right side. Okay. And then they're going to get shorter as they come along and go around and come up the other side here. So I'm just very quickly drawing in these little petals. And again, you can do yours with pencil, your heart desires. You can do whatever you want. So, but we're going to get a little bit shorter with these petals because, again, the flower is facing this way. So they're going to be a little bit shorter as we get to the left side. So I am not being fussy with these at all, just drawing in some petals for my fleur. Okay. So as you can see, these are a little bit shorter on this side. In artistic parlance, this is called foreshortening. Okay. A little bit here, a little bit there. Okay. And again, shorter here, longer there. Okay. I'm going to change this one up just a little bit. Now, in this picture, you will notice that some of the petals are kind of going over that mid section of the flower. And I'm not a good flower I don't know what the parts of the flower are called other than this is the petal, this is the stem. So I'm sure there are better, more appropriate words, but this is all you're gonna get from moi today. Okay, so these petals, we kind of want them going in front of that middle section in the flower. Okay, because again, that's what's going to give us the idea that this flower is kind of turned away. And also someone asked the question, does the background need to be white? The background does not need to be white. In the handout or the picture here, that flower is done on a Santorini stone, which they are naturally white, okay? So, but I decided that I would go with the white just because I thought it would be easier for you to see, okay? So you can actually use any color. You might want to use a blue back there or any color at all, whatever your heart desires, because my darlings, you are the creator. I have an assistant who teases me. She goes, how come your voice gets like Dracula when you say that? And I say, I don't know, my dear. It just goes that way. Okay. So just working a little bit there. So what I noticed, and this is the first time that I am doing this particular project, so we shall learn together. Oh, let me look at it here for a second. I'm going to go ahead and make these even a little bit longer. Now, let me tell you that in this planning stage, if you decide to make changes, now is the time to do it, not when you're halfway through the picture. Typically, student work, especially if we do like a fun and paint, they'll get to a certain point and they go, well, you know, I really would like to redo this sky, or I would like to redo that. And I say, don't do that now, you know, because then you're trying to work between, you know, little spots and pieces and whatnot. So you kind of want to finish one section before the other. So I'm looking at what I have here, and I'm going to, if I face the stone towards me, and decide I'm going to do just to make these a little bit longer on this side. Now, as I say, I noticed that there are leaves here and down here, and even one on the side, which I did put, but that one's a lot closer to the flower, so I might have to go ahead and put in a second one. Ah, okay, you do not have to. All right, so in the end, I always tell students, do whatever is right for your composition, okay? I have to turn this towards me for a second. I apologize, because I want to put a leaf over there. Okay, I put a leaf there, and I'm going to put, and well, maybe I don't want to put that one down there because mine is pretty close. This stem is longer. Now, the reason that my stem is not quite as long, and my stone is not as tall. Okay? So again, you kind of want to do what's right for your composition. Okay? So as I'm talking, I'm going to clean off this little baby brush that is so wonderful and can do lots and lots of detail. Okay, make sure your brushes are clean. Acrylic paints, when they dry, they become very permanent. So protect. Clean your brushes really good when you're not using them. Put them in the water so that they stay pliable. If you get acrylic paint on your clothes or on your surfaces, you can pretty much get them off if they're still wet. Once they dry, they do become permanent, okay? So you want to protect any surfaces. This is my art table. Okay, see, it has lots of paint on it. So I'm not overly concerned about spilling paint on there, although if I do spill globs on there, I do clean it off. Also, I have paint clothes on, which I don't know if I can show you my paint clothes, but they are clothes that have gotten paint on. The paint is dried, so now they are paint clothes. I wear them when I am painting. Okay, so now I have an outline. I have some guidelines here, right? So I want to begin to apply some color. And I think that I will start with the green, okay? So again, Hooker's green is kind of my preference. And let's see if it's going to be dark enough on its own, which I don't want to be disturbed once I stop. So I'm going to put out a little bit of brown. Oops, this brown is pretty thick here. A little bit of brown. And I have some white out on my palette, which is right here. And I don't have a lot of paint out. This is a relatively small stone, so I'm not going to need lots and lots of paint. So I have my burnt umber, which is what I did the drawing with. I have Hooker's green, some brown, because I'm going to want to darken some of the brown. White in case I want to lighten some of the brown. But I'm also going to put out a little bit of medium yellow, because medium yellow on top of the green will make some nice highlights. Okay, so I am going to take this brush. All right, so it's a let me see where the camera is. Okay, so this brush is a round head. Okay, it doesn't have a square head. Has a little bit of a point to it, which I think is really good. It'll give me the control that I need to get into these smaller areas. Okay, so I'm going to try, let me put my paint over here. So I want you to be able to see kind of everything I'm doing here a little bit better. And sometimes I have to kind of face it to me a little bit, so I don't want to throw everyone off here. Okay, so I put just a little bit of paint here, and I am going to start now by painting in this area. Okay, and I'll show it to you in 1 second, or 2 seconds, maybe. Okay. All right, that's what it looks like. All right, now this is actually a bend in the leaf here. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Hooker's green, and I'm going to take a little bit of that dark brown and add it to it. At least I thought I was going to, but that's a pretty dry. Oh, here we go, here we go. What I'm doing is I'm adding some of this brown to the green. So now you can see that it's still green, but it's a darker shade, okay? So that's, I want to put that darker shade where under the fold here. Okay, so I'm giving my leaf a shadow. Okay, can you see that work of art? Okay. All right, so I'm going back to my green, and notice that I have not cleaned off my brush because I don't mind the color that's on there. I think it will look awesome. Okay, so I'm taking and I'm painting the leaf next to it. Okay, and I'm kind of allowing that outline to kind of show because I like what it's doing. I like the fact that it's giving us a little bit of a boundary between the leaves here. Okay. So, ta-da! All right, let's do that. Now I'm going to take my, just the original Hooker's green here, and I'm going to do the stem work here. Okay, so the stem, okay, nice smooth stroke here. All right. So okay, so let's put that in there like this. Now, as you can see, the colors are close enough in here that they all kind of look connected. I would like to see kind of where one ends and the other begins. So I'm not going to put water on the brush. I'm just going to take a paper towel and clean off excess paint. Okay, because I don't mind the green on there, but I'm going to dip into my, can you see this? Yellow, just a little bit, because I said to you, yellow will create some nice highlight for us. So right down the middle, I am going to put a highlight right there. Okay. Okay, I am going to once again clean the excess paint off of my brush. I'm going to dip into the yellow once again and give that another go. Okay, also going to put a little bit on this leaf, and this one. Can you see that? Can you see how lovely that is? Colors are quite beautiful. Okay. And the highlight, we put the highlight right in the middle of the stem, because if there's a highlight in the middle and then there's darkness going around the edges, it gives it a cylindrical look. It doesn't look flat. It makes our picture look 3D. Okay, so I am going to put this brush here for a second, and I'm going to take a little bit larger square head brush for this leaf. Okay, and absolutely you could do it with the smaller one if you wanted to, but I'm thinking let's kind of get that paint on there. Okay, so can you see, Andrea? Oh yeah, you can see me. Okay, so let's get that paint on there. Okay, and now that I kind of have it covered, have that leaf covered, I'm going to begin to pay attention to my brush strokes, okay? Because I want them to look like like, see how there's a pattern in there, there's some light, but you can also see the vein work going on in here. So I would like to have that in my picture as well. Okay, so I am bringing my brush strokes down the leaf, okay, and into where the vein, the little veins in this would be, okay. All right, so this is what I have so far. All right, so now I am going to go ahead and dip into my yellow, dip into the yellow a little bit, and watch. I'm going to take this, I'm going to do it on the side here, and put a little bit of highlight in here. Is that not beauteous? I knew you'd like it. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more here and put some on this side as well. Okay, and maybe a little bit over here. Okay, so we can see that leaf taking shape a little bit now, correct? Okay. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more yellow and put a little bit more in this because it looks so good in that other leaf. And now I'm addicted and I want to put it here and there and everywhere. I told you I'm prone to singing. Wow. Okay, let's a little bit of this and put a little paint on here. All right, so that's what we're looking like so far. I am going to take this brush and put it in the water, and I'm actually, we have another one over here though, don't we? Way over there. Okay, so maybe, now I like this one over here. I'm going to put a second one in over here. And you do not need a second one. Mine needs a second one because of the position of my flower. My flower is way more turned than this one. So I am kind of adapting my painting to that. So if you want an extra leaf on this side, by all means, put in that extra leaf. If you do not want an extra leaf on that side, then by all means, do not put in that extra leaf. Okay, so I'm taking my square head brush once again, and I'm going to take that one, put that one in the water, and I want to create that dark green once again. Okay, so this is that dark brown that I'm mixing in with this green. Can you see the difference in the color between the two? This one has a little bit more of a brownish color to it. So, and the reason that I did that is I want to see the difference between the leaves. So if I just make them both the same color green, we're not going to be able to see them. So what I really want to do is, in between where these leaves are going to go, I'm going to put the darker green here. The darker green. Okay, the students make fun of me. They go, darker. She says, darker. I'm like, yeah. So what's the problemo? Nothing. Okay, so I'm switching over to the other green here, which is the Hooker's green, the original Hooker's green. And I'm leaving my dark in there because, again, I want to see, I want that shadow. I want that in there. So here we go. Let's do it. All right, can you see that there? All right, so the one next to it, and again, I'm not cleaning off my brush. I am using just the Hooker's green for this leaf. Okay, and I'm painting around my flower petals. Okay, so see how you can see this leaf from this one, because it's a different value. It's a different, there's a contrast there. So what I tell my students is, if you have work, you're working on a piece and you're looking at it and you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, it looks good, but there's something up with it. And you're trying to diagnose what is the problem. The first word that should come to your mind is contrast. Contrast is always the answer on some level. There's either too much of it or not enough of it. Okay, so I'm going to take more of this Hooker's green and go over this little guy. Okay, so he's a little bit more full. Okay, I'm going to take my darker green and go over this little guy, especially where it comes up against the other leaf and under this petal. That being the case, under this petal, I'm going to put a little bit of the dark green here as well, but not on this side, because I don't want to lose the contrast here. Okay, so same thing that we did here on this side, we're going to do on the other side, because again, we kind of want to see a little bit of vein work going on here. Okay, so the same that we did here, we kind of want to see over here a little bit. So once again, I'm not going to clean the paint, all the paint out of my brush by washing it, but I am taking all the excess off, so that when I pick up some of this yellow, I'm actually going to be able to see it. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow, and like magic, painting is magical. Okay, take a little bit of this yellow, and by doing that, we create a little bit of texture here, a little bit of volume. Okay, so can you see that there? Right, I'm going to do the same thing to the top one here. So I'm just going to make some strokes in it that give you the idea of the veins, of the vein work. Okay, so see how this one comes down here? You can kind of see the veins, you can kind of see them here as well, right? So we're doing that with our brush strokes. I'm actually going to put another little guy right here. Okay, this leaf is kind of in your face a little bit. So when anything is really close to the viewer's eye, we want to make sure it has a lot of really good detail there. Okay, so these are my leaves on the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and put some on this side. But again, okay, I am definitely creating a direction here. Okay, for my leaves. And even though I'm putting some highlight on this bottom leaf, or the one that's underneath, it's not as bright. It's not as bright as the other one. Okay, because I want to see the difference. Okay, I don't want them to look like a blob of green. I want them to look like leaves. And I also want it to look like one leaf is a little closer to us than the other. Okay, so now that I have this awesome highlight on here, I'm going to take this brush and put it in the water. Again, we do not want our brushes to dry with acrylic paint on them. I am going to take this very small detail brush, and I'm also going to take this really dark brownish greenish color that I created here. Okay, here it is right here. I didn't realize my face instead of the can you tell I'm an amateur videographer? Okay, so I have that darkish, brownish, greenish, colorish. And so now I'm going to go ahead and accent the veins in here that I do have. Okay. Coming here, and here, and here. Beauteous, beauteous. Okay, same thing here. Let's put in a few veins in here. And I really like the darker brown for here. So let's see if we can get the darker browns in there. Okay, so this is what I have the vein work here. It's a little too pronounced for me, so I'm going to brush some of it out. And actually, if it won't brush out, I'm just going to go over it with a little bit of green here. I want to see them, but I do not want them to overpower my piece. Okay, so let's do this and this. Can get a little highlight in between them. Okay, and same thing up here. Don't necessarily want too much brown in there. I want it to look like a skinny vein, not a river. Let me see. What does this say? How do you want to open this? I know that you cannot see it, but I have a funny message up here. Right? So stick with me while I get rid of the funny message. At least I hope I get rid of the funny message. Oh, wait, there it's gone. Are we still recording? I hope. Oh, good. Good, we're still recording. Did I tell you I was an amateur at this? Okay, all right. So it says we're recording. This is a very good thing. All right. So let's go back to the artwork. All right, so here is my leaf. Okay, I want to see it. So I am giving this part a teensy bit more highlight here. Just because I want to. Okay, so let's do a little bit more green on here and on here. Okay, so now we have a little bit of vein work going on. We have some nice, deep, rich, dark green leaves. Okay, so I would say we're ready. Let's do this inside part of the flower first, because if we try to put it in around the petals, I think we're going to have a problemo. Okay, so I am actually going to use this burnt sienna, which is right here, like this, and I am going to not touch those wet leaves. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put in that middle part of the flower. I am kind of painting around the petals a little bit, but it'll be a lot easier to work with them. Okay, so can you see what I have done there? Okay, so again, acrylics dry relatively fast, or at least they get tacky relatively fast. So in this case, we kind of would like it to be tacky a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit more paint here, because I would like it to be a little bit, whoops, I didn't mean for that much paint. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that one like this. All right, so let me take a look at it in my point of view here, because I'm kind of painting sideways. That's okay, we don't mind painting sideways. All right, so that's what I have. And at this point, okay, and while it's still wet, I am going to take this much deeper brown here. And this much deeper brown is called burnt umber. Remember we talked about burnt sienna and burnt umber, and they're both browns, but the burnt umber is the darker brown. And the only reason that I'm going to that one now is because I want to create, I don't want this to be just a straight brown color. So I'm just kind of dabbing on, let me see if I can pick it up. Okay, I'm just kind of dabbing on some of that darker brown, because not only does it give it a little bit of texture, it gives it a little bit of context as well. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now while I'm doing that, I'm going to take some of the brown paint off. And again, I've not really rinsed off these brushes a lot because a lot of the colors they relate to each other. We want them in there. So I'm going to dip into this white just a tad. See how much is on there? Not much at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to kind of put some of the white on there. This is actually called dry brushing. I want to give it a little bit. Okay, can you see that really good? That looks awesome. So I want to give this, again, it's a little bit of depth in here. Okay. Can you see that? Yes, I can. Da, 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 da. La, la, la. Okay, cleaning the white off the brush. Dipping into the burnt sienna, which is the lighter of the two browns. It's kind of re-dipping over here, just re-dotting, because I want that kind of white area. So I have a really light area, I have a medium area, and I have a really dark area. Okay, so that really gives my the middle of my flower some cool context there. It doesn't look flat, it looks round. It has a shape to it. Okay, so now, while that is just drying a little bit, I want to get my yellows ready. Okay, now remember I said there was some brighter yellows in here. There was some kind of goldy yellows going on here. So I want to, and there's even some white highlights in here. And there's also a little bit of line or lineage. There's some lines going on here to show some texture. Not a lot, just a few here and there. So let's see what it looks like first, and then we'll kind of make up our mind from there. Okay, so I have a small, I'm going to use the same small square head brush that I used for my leaves, and I have a lot of stray lines on here, so I'm going to prime it with the white. Okay, so where I have a lot of brown here, I'm just going to go over it with the white so that my yellow will cover. Okay, so I'm just priming with the white. Okay, going over my brown, because I have a lot of, typically, you know, you would do it with pencil or whatever. Because I did it with paint, you know, I want to be able to get the yellow over here. So I'm going to take away some of these guidelines that I left here, and I'm going to do that by priming this. Okay, get rid of some of those guidelines, and then another one here. Another one here. So I'm really just kind of cleaning up a little bit. And also it's known as priming, certainly. So you're priming it, getting it ready for its coat of yellow here. Right, so any place you don't want those brown lines to show up, I'm putting the white on there. Okay. That looks pretty ding dang dong good. Okay, and also these in here, I have one, and these are what's in front of that middle part of the flower. I actually should have Googled it, I guess, before I started. But yeah, probably all know what it is anyway. So I'm just kind of doing these little petals in here. Okay, and I'm giving them a little bit more attention than I gave them when I first started doing them, only because those were kind of my guidelines. I wasn't real sure if I wanted them to go, but I am sure now. Okay. And that's what happens. You can develop your picture as you go along. Okay. So that actually is looking pretty cool. Starting to look a little bit like a fleur. Okay. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I'm liking my leaves. I'm giving them a second look over here. And I'm going to let this white kind of dry and get a little tacky so I can put my yellow on. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow and play around with my leaves a little bit more. Okay, and if you're happy with your leaves, don't play around with your leaves. I get students that like, well, you know, I liked him before I did this, or that. And I'll say, well, then why didn't you leave him like that? And they said, well, because you went ahead and you did. And I'm like, oh, you know, so when your flower looks good, when things look good, don't overwork them. As artists, we have a tendency to overwork the work. Okay, so when you like something, stop developing it. Right? So that, I do say I'm really, it has character. That flower has character. Okay, so I have some medium yellow out here. I also have some deep yellow. Okay, deep yellow and medium yellow. That's the difference. One is deep, it has a little bit of orange in it. So if you actually don't have both kinds of yellow, put a little bit of orange out on your palette. I'm actually going to put both out. I'm going to put a little bit of my, I have deep yellow here, I have medium yellow here, and I'm going to take cadmium orange hue. This is orange, okay? I was going to say orange. It's not late, it's fine. This is when it's late is when my house is the most quiet. Other than that, sometimes like Grand Central Station. So this is the best time to work on my own artwork, do some tutorials. So all right, so what I'm going to use for my petals for right now is this first and that second. I'm going to either add some orange or some sienna, burnt sienna, okay, not the burnt umber. Remember the two different browns, one is dark and one is lighter. So I'm either going to add some of that for contrast. I just don't know which yet until I see what it looks like. Okay, that's why I think they say artists are moody. I never really thought of myself as a moody person. Nah. Okay, so I'm going to just start putting the yellow on here. Okay, and I am using the exact same brush that I use to prime with, which is a small square head, so called because it's squared off at the end of the brush. Okay, so I'm going to start putting in some of these yellow petals, but before it dries, I'm actually going to take some of the deeper yellow and put this on here. And as suspected, it's not really quite dark enough. I'm going to try a little bit of this orange, like right here, and then my deepest yellow, okay, right here. I could try a little bit more. Okay, now if I put this on here, let's see. It's magic! Yay! Look it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Look how beauteous. How beauteous that is. Okay, so not all of the petals want to be quite that dark, but some of them sure as heck do. I think this one over here does. Okay, so I'm going to make this one a darker. And the only reason I'm doing that is because it's already on my brush. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look for some other ones that maybe want to be darker. Okay, and I am looking at the handout to see kind of where they have placed them. But again, you know, each composition is unique. Okay, so if you say, well, gee willikers, Joan, I don't think I like that, well then, don't you do it. Okay, so I've switched to the lighter yellows in here. Okay, so let me put my palette over here so you can see what's going on. And I'm holding this plate here because, like I said, there's so much paint on the art table that I don't want it to distract you. Okay, so I'm going to put some of these lighter petals here. And the petals that are a little bit darker are the ones that are kind of behind, you know, sitting behind other petals. There isn't any time limit for you. If you find that I'm moving too quickly for you, pause the recording, okay? Pause the recording and catch up. Catch up, my darlings. Okay, so even though this is a light yellow petal, I'm putting a little bit of my darker, but I'm just putting it near the center of the petal, because that's going to make it look like it's billowing out towards us. Now, this little guy back here, this petal is way in the back. So we're going to go darker still. And I am going to pick up a teensy bit of burnt sienna for this darker petal back here and show you what it looks like. Okay, see that petal there? That's the one that has a little bit of the burnt sienna. Okay, see how that makes it look a teensy bit darker? Okay, and the reason that we're kind of doing that is, again, because those petals, we want them to look like they're billowing out from the center of the flower. Plus, the petals that are kind of in the background want to be darker, okay? Or there's a shadow because one petal is kind of hanging over the other petal. Okay, if you get them too dark, pick up your light yellow and just kind of go over them a little bit. This is a very forgiving type of subject matter and medium here. Okay, so I'm gonna go over these little guys in here. This is so cool. The minute I saw this picture, I'm like, this, I want to do that one. Okay, see what's going on here? That's just very cool, very cool. Now I have some French students, and I was lucky enough to spend some time in France. So before I went, I got a program, an online program, to practice my French, my français. And so I have 2 French students in my Drake class. And so I would come into class every day and I'd say stuff to them in French, and they would look at each other and burst out laughing. So I was like, I'm not sure I'm getting the hang of this. And they're like, no, no, you know, they were very encouraging. They're like, no, no, you're doing fine, Joan, just keep practicing. So I'd be like, okay, what did I say now? You know? So like I said, they were very gentle with me, and you know, no, no, it's fine. You said it right. You were close. So I'm like, oh, okay. So my very first day in France, my first morning in France, I should say, I was determined to order my breakfast myself at a bakery. So I walked in and I told them in my very best French that I would like, they have these really awesome croissants with chocolate inside the croissants. And the word for in or inside is dans, D-A-N-S, dans. So I was like asking for chocolat dans my croissant type thing. And like I said, my very best français. And I also, you know, I wanted a croissant and a cup of tea. So it took me a while to order it because the person made me say it a couple of times for some reason. I don't know why. They couldn't hear me. And so when my order came, I got a croissant. I did get a croissant, so that's huge. That's huge. It did not have chocolate inside of it. It was just a regular croissant. I did get a cup of tea, and I also got a cup of hot chocolate. So I ordered a croissant with chocolate in it and a cup of tea, but what I got is a croissant, a cup of tea, and some hot chocolate. And so when I was looking at it, you know, the person, the wait person could see on my face, and they're like, d'accord, d'accord, what it means is okay, is it okay? And I'm like, oui, perfect, it's perfect, absolutely. Because I did not want to admit that I totally couldn't order my own breakfast in French. So, so that, you know, everyone kind of laughed about that one, but it's okay. It's okay. I still got chocolate. I still got tea, and I still got a croissant. So there you have it. Okay. So look at this little guy. All right. Cute, cute, cute as can be. And now, as I'm looking at this over yonder, I can see a little bit of white highlight in there. So I am going to put my brush in the water and switch to this very small detail brush that I have. And I'm going to put it in the white and just make little tiny highlights here. Now, look at that. Is that not beauteous? Okay, so again, it's a very small detail brush, and because it's so small, it gives me a great deal of control. Okay, which, if you're a Virgo like me, control is extremely important to us. We like control. Okay, so now let me do this one. Wow, I'm liking that. And then there's one little guy up here. Okay, so can you see all that good stuff going on over there? It's very exciting. So I am going to say, I see a little bit of highlight here. And I do, and when I say highlight, I mean a highlight. We don't want our picture to look like a coloring book. Okay, we want it to look like a work of art. So we're not looking for big, heavy lines in through here. We're looking for nice, soft details. Okay, so, all right. So maybe, let's see if we can get up close and personal here. There we go, that works. All right, so as you can see, this part is dry enough for me to actually pick it up. So again, dries relatively fast here. I lost a little bit of, see this darker, it's not quite an outline, you know, it's not a heavy outline again, all right, but there is some definition. Now I can see that I have definition here, but I've kind of lost it here. So I actually, because this paint is a little darker, I don't even need to clean my brush off, but I do want to create a little bit of definition in here. Okay. So see that? A little bit of definition. Because we kind of lost it, or I did anyway. Yours is probably perfect. Okay, let's put one there. Okay, so any place you kind of feel like, all right, we need to redefine some of this. Okay, so that actually looks quite nice. I'm going to take just a little bit more, I think, and just kind of fix around here. A little patchwork here. Okay. Wow, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I have to say, like I said, this is my first time doing this particular picture, this particular project, and I have to say I am totally enjoying it. Let us work on this little dewdrop in here. Now, if the dewdrop feels too difficult for you, you don't want to try it, don't do it. This is your project. You can do it if you want to, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. So, I am going to take my detail brush and I'm going to put it into the white, and I'm going to make a little dewdrop right here. Okay, that's my little dewdrop. Now, let me tell you that a dewdrop is not, it's not just pure white there. So I cleaned the excess paint off of my brush and just dipping it in the water a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and make, just fuzz out my drop of water. Okay, so I'm just taking away some of the really bright stuff that's going on there. Okay, now you can see through a drop of dew. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of green and I'm going to mix it in there. Okay, right. I'm going to dry my brush. I'm going to go into that green again and get a little bit more green in my dewdrop. Looky, looky. Okay, going into the white, and I'm taking the smallest drop of white that I can. And I am making the smallest little highlight there. Now, this next part should not make anybody nervous. We're going to take some black, and my spout doesn't work. So I'm going to have to unscrew this little guy. And I need very little black, so I'm just going to give myself some black on my palette. I'll put this back on here. Okay, when you take your paint out, put some paint on your palette, make sure you close your containers because it can dry out your paints. Okay, so once again, I'm taking this very small detail brush and I am dipping in the black, okay? And not a lot, and again, there's very few hairs on this brush. Okay, and now I need to go around the outside of this dewdrop. Okay, let's see here. All right, so what's actually happening is the dewdrop is getting a little bit of shadow, which is typically cast when you have water because there's a reflection. Okay, so let me take this here for a moment. Okay, and again, if this is too harrowing for you, if this is too like, oh my God for you, don't do it. Okay. So therein is my dewdrop. And I'm going to take a teensy bit more of this white, maybe, baby. Come right around here. Okay, dewdrop on the leaf. So now, if you can do a dewdrop on your leaf, you are a true artist, no matter what anyone says. We are ready to move on to our ladybug. This ladybug is really easy to do. She's a basic oval shape. And we're going to paint her red, black. Then we're going to put black dots. We're going to make legs and 2 white dots over here for whatever that is. Okay, and again, don't come after me. I don't know the names of these guys. Again, we are going to prime our petal by making it white first. I mean, I could put red over this kind of yellowy color, which would be okay, right? It'd be okay. But instead of having to do it 2 or 3 times, if I prime it, then that actually will get it ready earlier. So I'm picking a petal. Okay, now this one is kind of facing inside there, which I'm kind of liking. I'm kind of liking that. So I'm thinking I'll do the same thing. I'm going to put mine right here. Okay, so again, I'm choosing an oval shape like this. Okay, see if we can get closer for you. This way and this way. All right, so I have a bit of an oval, but I'm not really sure it's facing that way. So maybe I need a different brush so I have a little bit more control. Okay, taking my small square head brush, picking up a little bit of white paint and redirecting. going this way. And I like that a lot better. Ta-da! Okay, let's take a look and see. So now I have an oval that's going to end up being a ladybug. And I did make it white. Again, it's just kind of priming the area. I'm going to take this brush, put it in the water, and I'm going to get my ladybug colors ready. And again, ladybug colors are red, white, and black. Okay, so I already have my black out. For my red, I'm using rose madder because I like that color red. You can use cadmium, light hue. You could use just a brilliant red, any kind of red your heart desires. Okay, let me show you. This is a brilliant red. This is a permanent magenta. Where magenta is a little bit more pinky. Nah, no magenta. No magenta. No magenta. All right, so as I say, these are two good colors. I find that brilliant red has it. This particular shade has a little bit, it's too orangey for me, like a tomato red. Okay, so I like the rose madder, even though it says it's rose, it has a nice look. The only other kind of red that I really like when I'm looking for a red is a crimson red. All right, crimson red would be cool as well. All right, but I am going to use rose madder. Okay, so, and this is a rather small little bug we got going on here. So we're not going to need a whole bunch of paint here. So I'm actually just putting out a couple of drops. All right, so don't waste your paints. And again, make sure you cover them tightly, okay? Because at the end, when you're done, at least when I'm done with my projects, what I end up doing is I pick them up and I throw them in my paint basket. I have a basket with a handle on it, and I walk around with my paint basket. And so make sure they're capped tightly, because next time you go to use them, you know, you want to make sure that they're usable. First, when they dry out, they get kind of a skin on them, and if they really dry out, then it gets inside, and you really can't use them anymore. They're not fresh anymore. Okay, I'm taking my small square head brush, use the same one that you used to make your petals. Okay, so I am going to take this, I'm going to put it in my red. I'm not overloading the brush here because, again, I'm looking to maintain a little bit of control here. So I am going to make a red oval. Okay, that's the start of our ladybug. Now, remember that ladybugs bring us good luck. And there's a tale out there that if you kill a ladybug, you will make it rain. So don't be killing any ladybugs, especially now. At the time of this recording, today is July 2nd, I think, going into July 3rd because it's late in the evening. So, you know, a lot of us have plans for July 4th. So no rain. Don't be killing any ladybugs. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put a second coat of paint on my ladybug just to make sure she is nice and red and happy as can be. No rain. Okay. So there's the red of my ladybug. Okay, switching brushes. Switching brushes to the fine to the fine point detail brush. We call it detail brush. Okay, there's very little hair on it. I'm going to put that in the black, and I'm going to do just the top part of that red so that it can kind of create the head of the ladybug. Be very quiet here because it takes so much concentration for me to do this ladybug. I am also making a line down her back. And I could not even speak. I was doing that. Took all my concentration. This is my bug. Okay, so what I did is I did this part, which actually could use a little bit more work here. All right, and I made the line going down her back to, and that line is just separates the wings, obviously, of the ladybug. Okay, see a part right here that I want to work on. You will find that as you continue to work, you'll see, you'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't notice that before. Let me fix that part. Let me do this part. Absolutely A-okay to do that. Okay. I'll tell you, that ladybug is looking totally awesome, baby. Okay. She has a bit of a bump right here. So let's take that off of her. And when I say take that off of her, all I did was put a little bit of yellow over the bump. Let's see if I can get in closer for you to see. Oh, actually, I could have made that little bump one of her legs. Okay, so let's pull it out like this. Okay, see how this brush, like I said, has very little in the way of bristles on it. So I see 1, 2, 3 on this side. So I'm going to go one more here, like this, and then another one, like, that looks like too much paint on the brush. Here's this leg. Here's this one. Okay. This one, and this one. All right, so now what I have here is a mashtuka. Okay. And I'm gonna put in the little horn things up here. Okay, so that's what my ladybug looks like, right? And this leg over here, I'm going to actually get a Q-tip and pick it up while it's still wet, only because it's not placed exactly where I wanted it, and the paint's too thick. So a Q-tip will do wonders. Ooh, gee willikers, I dropped my hot cocoa. All right, so here are my Q-tips. Let me do hot cocoa cleanup here. Luckily, we didn't spill too much, just a drop here and there. Okay, so these Q-tips, some of them are cosmetic Q-tips. And what I mean by that is people buy them, or women buy them, because they have a point on one side, all right? So they're used for applying makeup. So point on one side and round it on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully try to pick this up without smudging too much. Like I said, the paint dries really fast. So I'm going to wet this Q-tip a little bit just to pull this off of there. Okay, so that's not too shabby. Okay, good. And I'm going to, once again, go back to my detail brush. And this time, we're going to take our own advice and just not put a lot of paint on that brush. Okay, mucho better. Okay, it really looks like a bug, doesn't it? Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. We want it to look like a bug. Okay, I'm going to take some red with my super small brush, and just, if you can see what I'm doing, I'm thinning out this black line on her back just a little bit. There we go. Now she's beauteous. There she is. Okay. So now, what is left? A little bit of highlight on the wings. So still using a small brush because this is such a small area to work on. So I'm using the fine liner brush and just giving her a little bit of highlight down the back here, like this. Okay. A little bit of highlight down the back. All right, and she also has two white spots, like one here and one here. And I have no idea what those are. Okay, and also some here. So very, very tiny lines here. Okay. All right. So rinsing the white off the brush, I'm going to stay with the very small brush, and now we're going to put our dots on. And I'll tell you, I'm looking at this little handout piece, and on one side, even with my glasses on, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and we see 3 on this side, but depending on how big your dots actually come out, that's how many dots you should make. I am using this very small brush, and I'm letting a very small bead of paint be on the end of the brush, and I'm just going to touch. Just going to touch. Ta-da! Wow. Oh, Kazawi. All right, let's take some of this off of here, Jen. Okay, so we just want very few, just a very few dots on here, I would say. Okay, so I would say she's finished. And remember, when something's done, don't overwork it. Okay, so this is our picture, right? And I'm going to take another look at it, see if there's anywhere where I should add anything. And I'm actually putting a little bit of black vein work on here, like this. You can see it, like that. And maybe one over here. Now, I have to tell you, there's not a lot of paint on this brush. So not much is actually coming off the brush, okay? So I'm looking at this baby, and I'm gonna say this little guy is done, right? So this is the inspiration, okay? This is the piece that inspired us, and this is the finished piece, okay? So again, we want our finished piece. I don't know, I always say when I look at something and it inspires me, how can I make it even better? Okay, so this little guy, I think it has lots and lots of, I think it has lots of character. Okay, so if I just want to put a little bit more over this part of my greenery. Okay, and we have a dewdrop. All right, we have a dewdrop and a bug. Okay, so after this dries, like overnight type of a thing, you might want to seal it with some Mod Podge, some triple thick, something on that idea. Usually after I seal them, I sign them, okay? And I usually go bottom right over here. Okay, so we are done. Beauteous. Absolutely love it. It is as totally much fun as I thought it was going to be. And once again, I love spending time with you all, moving all of my brushes out of the way and the water thing out of the way of the computer so that I do not get water. Water and electronics, I learned, do not mix. Okay, so don't put them near each other if you can help it at all. All right, so once again, finished a piece. Ta-da! Okay, some sealer on it. But like I said, let it. If you're doing this during the day and not at midnight like me, I'm going to let it dry overnight and then put some sealer on it. And I usually put 2 coats of sealer on it. So after 1 coat, I'll sign it, I'll let it dry, put another coat of sealer on it. Sealer can be triple thick, it can be Mod Podge. Mod Podge is very common. People use it all of the time. And it is simply a water-based sealer, glue and finish. And this particular one is brilliant. It's a gloss luster, okay? So it's just Mod Podge. And if you're seeing it backwards, it's M-O-D-P-O-D-G-E, Mod Podge. And you can get it online if you don't want to go out. You can get it at places like Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Dick Blick, online, Jerry's Autorama. You can get it just about anywhere. You don't have to buy a big bottle like this. You can get them in smaller bottles. Okay, so they're good as sealers. They are good not only on your rocks, but they're good on, we've done mandalas and fun and paints. And we're gonna do, I promised I would tease you. So here goes nothing. All right, so now we have this beauteous piece that we just finished, and that's this one. Okay, I am going to, over the next couple of weeks, be doing 3 more tutorials. Okay, this is going to be our fun in paint. Okay, now I chose this one because the colors are so eye-poppingly beauteous. Okay, and we can do it. Okay, someone said to me, oh, it looks so hard. Look at all that blending. We're going to be able to do it. And I'll tell you, regular fun and paint, when I do them in person rather than virtually, we allow 3 hours. Okay, so can this one be done in 3 hours? Probably. All right, but it definitely can be done online because, as I say, if you need time, you stop the recording. you work on it, you put the recording back on. So doing it virtually definitely has its perks. Nothing's ever kind of like being there in person and helping and blah, blah, blah. But again, one of the cons to a virtual class is that if the teacher gets ahead of you, you don't want to just zoom ahead and leave something unfinished, so you stop the recording. So you should look for this within the next couple of weeks. And mandalas. If you haven't seen my mandala tutorial, you must go looking for them. Okay, this is another dotted mandala that we are going to do. All right, so, and I have dotting tools, which are, let me show you. Okay, so I do have some dotting tools, which are actually just, people use them for their nails, to decorate, do little decorations on their nails, okay? So this is what they look like. These are some of them. Anything round with a flat edge will actually work for a dotting tool. So if you have dotting tools or you have access to them, that is extremely cool. If you do not, one of the tutorials I did it with pencils, okay, the point of the pencil, a sharp pointed pencil, a dull pointed pencil, the eraser part of the pencil, knitting needles, a dropper, the squishy side of the dropper. You can use anything to do dotting, including Q-tips, both sides of the Q-tip, all right? So if you have access to or can get dotting tools, get yourself some dotting tools. If not, worry not. You can do it anyway. So, Fun and Paint, dotted mandala, and then our wonderful and mighty leader slash director at the Drake Council on Aging, because she has been inside, has been trying to get her dose of, I think it's iced coffee from, you know what it's from, not Dunkin' Donuts, the other one. Anyway, she has all these bottles left over. She's like, Joan, can you do something with these bottles? And I'm like, ha, can I do something with these bottles? Of course we can do something with these bottles. So this is also slated to be done. All right, now the bottles that she gave me are clear, so we're actually going to paint on them first. So they have this one has black, but you could do it blue. You could do any color you wanted to. You could leave it clear, but I find the clear ones are confusing because you can see the dots on the other side. It's like, okay, am I looking at this? So we're gonna color us. So we did this today, and these you should look for within the next couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, maybe sooner, if I can get my board in gear and get them done. I'm going to spend some time in Connecticut with my family over the holiday. So when I come back, okay. So this is a teaser. We want you to look for these, all right? Joan from joansartgallery.com. I have 8 other tutorials out there. If you're looking for them on YouTube and cannot find them, you can email me, jonissa@comcast.net, and say, yo, send me your links to your tutorials, and I will send them to you. And all you have to do is click on them. You get the link, you click on the link, I come up and I harass you for a while, and then I show you how to do something cool, okay? So you can call me there. joansartgallery.com is a really, as I'm reaching retirement, I'm not really keeping it up that great. It's a huge website that is over 20 years old. So it has a lot of stuff. I taught at Chelmsford High School, Tewksbury High School. I have a home art gallery here. So it has a lot of pictures. It has student works, all the parties that we had, the exhibits. So you can look through there if you have an hour or two, or you could just kind of glance around. However, Facebook might be a little bit easier. Jones Art Gallery Facebook page might be a little easier to negotiate. So jonesartgallery.com, and I have a sister company, which is intuitivebodyandsoul.com, which mostly it's a meditation and spiritual growth type thing. But a lot of times we do artwork. We'll paint chakras and meditation wheels. And that's where the dotted mandalas actually came from as well. I started doing meditation wheels, and then we got really artistic with them. Okay, so come and visit me, 978-807-7608. If you have questions, and people have called me, where do I get this paint? How do I get those tools? What color did you use for this, this, or that? What about canvases? What's the difference between a canvas panel and a stretched canvas? People call me all the time. Call me. You have a question? Call me. I am always willing to help, and awesome people at Drake and Council on Aging are extremely, they're very helpful. They're very motivated to help people expand and grow. So it's not just a matter of, you know, helping our older community to survive. They actually want them to thrive. Come on, let's do this. Can we do this for them? It was one of the best associations of my entire life. They're an amazing, amazing group of people. Okay, so Drake Council on Aging, you can contact them. You can get hold of me through them, or you just call me directly, 978-807-7608. Call me with questions. Email me. That number that I gave you can also text at, because it is my cell phone. You know, you can text me and say, yo, I can't find your links, so where are they? And I will send them to you, okay? Happy painting. Stay awesome, stay safe, and when the center reopens, I expect you to sign up for classes, because maybe we were doing it on Wednesdays, so hopefully we still will, but Wednesdays, noon to 2 every single week, and year-round art classes. Once a month, fun and paints, all right? So when the center reopens, I expect to see you there, okay? All right, I am going to look for the off button, which is always fun for me. I know it's around here somewhere. You have to hover. You have to hover over it in order for it to come off, okay? But I see it now. Good night, everyone. Have an awesome day.